Public Service Company of New Mexico says programs like user-generated electricity may get the company to its goal of 10% of all of its power coming from renewable sources sooner than expected. PNM has seen an influx of individuals and businesses signing up to sell electricity they make back to PNM. The numbers are coming in so fast that PNM is thinking about putting a cap on the number of customers eligible to resell back to the power company. Would that put a crimp in efforts like those in Santa Fe County to get more people to install alternative energy systems? I put that question to State Senator Peter Wirth. He's the architect of one of the new pieces of legislation designed to increase individual use of solar power.
Well, I think it's not just the program we've been promoting, which is to create renewable energy financing districts. Really, it's a crimp in a whole direction the state has been taking, which has been to encourage renewable energy installation. And I'm certainly discouraged by this effort. I really think PNM has been a leader in the national arena in terms of climate change and working towards cap and trade, and so it's a little bit discouraging to see them taking this position here at the local level. There is a pending action at the PRC that may be playing into this to some extent. I think as more and more homes and businesses are looking to solar energy, there's real questions that about PNM and how they get reimbursed, and so there's a pending PRC action where, again, PNM is challenging a number of local governments, including, I believe, the city of Santa Fe, the way and the mechanism whereby power is generated and they compensate for that power. So I think it's all part of a bigger, quote-unquote, discussion, but certainly it's not a positive direction.
On that local issue, the city of Santa Fe would like to buy electricity from a single solar power company at a more economical rate than they would buy it from PNM. I guess that would cause economic problems for PNM.
Well, potentially it could, although, again, I think this is a whole new world here we're entering into. And, again, I think that it's important that PNM not kind of jump off the bandwagon here, because what we've been doing at the state level is really passing laws and creating renewable energy standards that move us in a direction towards renewables. And I think, it's interesting when that renewable energy portfolio first went into place, there was lots of squawking about the wind power requirement and how it couldn't compete. Well, it turns out that it more than can compete. They're actually making money off of energy produced via wind. And so certainly the price of solar is a factor. That price continues to come down. I just think this is a tension that exists as you move forward. And obviously PNM it's a private company with shareholders, and they've got duties to those shareholders to make money. I just think at the same time, however, they need to follow the law and work within the law. And as we define these gray areas, which is what I think is happening, we'll see what direction we go.
It is interesting that PNM says if they continue on this current track of buying electricity back from users, they'll reach their minimum cap, their minimum target for generating clean electricity earlier than they expected. That would be too bad that they couldn't continue and exceed that minimum.
Well, or we change the minimum goes up, and that's probably what they're concerned about. Again, I think that really, as you say, and the way you put it, is that a bad thing? Isn't that exactly what we're trying to do?
It's ironic that that it is working so fast.
That's right. It's kind of like the cash for clunkers. No one thought that federal program for the cars was going to happen as quickly. And so, again, this is what's exciting. This is an example of when you can put government programs in place and really see change. And I think that the local program that is the result of a bill I carried, and Representative Brian Egoff carried another bill. The governor signed them both. What's really exciting about that is that I also think that has the potential to really take off as people are able to obtain a different financing mechanism for renewable energy improvements using a special assessment on their property tax. And local governments are going to look at bonding and different ways to fund this. And I think all of a sudden what we're doing and what we're facilitating is a transition to renewable energy, not just doing it because it's good for the environment, but really because it's good for the bottom economic dollar, bottom line.
Well, back to your legislation, one of the benefits you promoted was the fact that individuals who got this financing to install their own solar systems could sell part of it back to PNM. Now, if the number of customers doing that is, in fact, limited, do you think that would put a halt to people installing solar systems in general?
Well, I don't think so. I wouldn't say it would put a halt. I do think it certainly will impact the analysis that homeowners and businesses who are deciding to participate go through as they look at the program. You know, one thing I really want to stress is this is not a mandate of any kind. It's completely voluntary. And so if a local government creates a district, and certainly the County of Santa Fe has taken the first steps, passing some resolutions, which are the first steps before they put an ordinance in place. You know, once individual homeowners and businesses have that ordinance in place, they're going to need to sit down and look very carefully at what the numbers look like. And certainly, with respect to solar, obviously, if the rebates and are not there, and the net metering credits are somehow not there, it does change the analysis, as it would whether the program exists or not. If you're going to go down to the bank and borrow money to put the system on, it's going to change that analysis for solar. This bill also, though, does address wind and solar thermal and geothermal. So there are some other areas where those rebates aren't there. And I think it's going to be an individual decision that folks have to make. But boy, I'm sure hoping that the rebates stay in place, because I really want this to be, again, something that makes economic sense for a very broad group of folks.
Switching topics to the state's financial position, federal figures show that income tax revenue is down nearly 20%. We haven't heard about New Mexico yet, but I suspect it's down as well. Any word on a special session to address the budget issue?
Well, I think that, again, what I have heard are similar types of numbers at the state level, $300 million shortfall. Again, I think we're going to find out August 14th. Legislative Finance Committee meeting up in Angel Fire, and those numbers will be released. I would say that better than 50% chance we're going to be in special session. It's definitely looking that way, because if, in fact, those shortfalls exist, then legislative action is needed to activate and be able to access the reserves. So, these are tough times, and I think we're beginning to see some rebound at the national level, and certainly I'm hopeful that we also see that here in New Mexico.
And another ironic development this weekend is the tax-free holiday shopping situation in New Mexico. No taxes on certain items at the time when tax revenue is down.
It's funny. I was talking. We had a discussion about that around the family dinner table last night, and it's really both sides of the argument. Certainly from a fiscal standpoint, it's worrisome that we're taking another big whack out of gross receipts tax. On the other hand, people are hurting, and so being able to do anything to help folks as they transition kids back to school and those types of items, you can certainly see the benefit.
State Senator Peter Wirth of Santa Fe joining us on At Noon from KSFR News.